Greetings everyone, Anthony Marsh Jr. on PRLostGalaxy2014 with a brand new vlog on Power Rangers Dino Charge, continuing on with my Dino Charge vlog series as I cover episode 6 on my 6th vlog edition with the episode The Tooth Hurts. As this is officially Dino Charge's first official filler episode. You know, as far as we know in Power Rangers history, throughout the history of the show's 800, almost soon to be 800 plus episode library, there have been a couple of episodes that we've had that were good, and we had some that were bad, and some filler episodes that were just plain boring. But this episode is no excuse and no exception. This episode is also probably yet again pretty much a partial Chase focused episode, but it's also at the same time a Riley focused episode. And the description for the episode "The Tooth Hurts" is when a cavity monster goes amok, causing pain to people for eating his wedding cake, and especially Chase is the only ranger who gets affected by this. Riley also mistakenly thinks that Chase is not taking the situation with that the monster is causing seriously. And also, I really like to think that this episode. Well, this episode's moral message is, although they do these, when you're on a team, and if you have two people or three, when they do different things differently, they will always be on the same path and in the same group. That's the moral message I get from this episode, and that's what I really like about it. There were plenty of moments that was on and off in this episode. Well, actually, I guess let's say one, while the rest were pretty good. And also the final scene in the episode, or the two scenes, like the beginning scene and the ending scene, when on track, when they're in the track course, fooling around, wasting some time at the end of the episode leading to the next. And even in the beginning episode, which albeit where we see Riley on the track training and jogging around and doing push-ups, I felt that scene was a bit pointless. Then we get to scenes with Sondra, which albeit, because despite the fact I love Sondra's character to death, I really like the way how her conflict between her and Fury unravels in this episode. Is really funny, and especially the way how Fury continues to insult Sondra, calling her a pasty face, candy cane, whatever, and all those names just to insult the way how, because doing the fact that Sondra is this happy giddy villain who also at the same time has ambitions on keep one instead of caring about what Sledge and his cohorts want. Catching destroying the Rangers, bringing their Energems, blah blah blah. Sondra, all she ever cares about is, of course, her wedding, which is pretty much one of those big plot contrivances with her character, because we won't get a Sondra Sledge episode where it's all about their wedding until probably, we don't know when, probably during the Super season or probably later before the first half of Dino Charge ends. I don't know. So I just have to hold on to my prediction about them having a wedding. No time soon. But I do like the scenes where Sondra and the Cavity Monster interact, and I like the way how the Cavity Monster, even aside from Fury, to also insult Sondra in so many ways possible, just to urge and anger her at times. And then I feel that after watching the entire episode, this entire episode to me was a total copy paste of the entire Kyuryuger version of it, because that episode about the Cavity Monster and then people having cavities eating sweet stuff, that was the first Kyuryuger episode prior to Power Rangers Dino Charge that I seen in this full entirety when I was watching the first 6 or 7 episodes of Kyuryuger here on YouTube until so that was one of the few Kyuryuger episodes that this exact episode was based on that I've seen in its full entirety. So I felt that there were some similarities that I thought were better in here than I feel in Kyuryuger, or better in Kyuryuger than here. So either way around. In the scene where, and also I feel that this episode, well, if we had that pendant thing from the last episode from the Spellbinder Monster, I feel that this episode does begin the opening red herring beginning of the Gold Ranger arc, but as they are, while the Dino Bite Cafe, the Rangers are, well, actually, yeah, well, they're at a map as they are on a quest to, well, this is the beginning of their quest to find the gold energem and also the fossil fuels of the Megazord, which also hints of the Gold Ranger, of course. And the scenes where, as soon as when Shelby gives the Rangers the tray of those cakes and stuff, slices of cake, unfortunately Riley stops them from eating the slice because they don't want to end up being like all the civilians as in the cafe and ends up having these pain-achful cavities. And this is something exactly like in the Kyryuja version. I mean, it feels like whenever I thought Dino Charge was supposed to do something entirely original. It just feels like the more I see more of the Kyryuja base plots and less of the originality of Dino Charge, the more it's probably going to make me want to stop watching Dino Charge and want to stop this vlog series. But I'm going to continue watching Dino Charge and then also do these vlogs as well. But nonetheless, the scene where Riley and Chase go after the cavity monster the first time. Now, these two, although, again, about them doing things different, they come from two different past things. I think that the part where it's just, I like the way how their interaction when they were about to go after the monster was pretty solidified with them being from two different cliques, because we've had this kind of scenario in past Power Ranger seasons with their episodes, but I'm not going to say whose seasons, whose names, and what episodes. But this just reminds me exactly of those kind of episodes in Power Rangers history. And even, well, to be honest, though, in the Kyryuja version, in that same scene when Riley and Chase goes after Cavity, and when Cavity was attacking the two, and while Tyler shows up last minute, so does Shelby and Coda fighting off the Vivics. That exact same episode, as soon as I saw that speck of footage of them fighting the monster the first time in Ranger form, it's Bolivia's in Kyryuja that the Kiryu Scion character appears in that episode. And I said, as soon as I saw those specks of footage, I said, why won't the Dino Charge Aqua Ranger show up for at least a small cameo before he actually makes his major appearance in the series? And I said, that's exactly what I said, because if Kiryu Scion appeared in that exact episode of Kyryuja, why can't he just make a guest cameo spot in this episode? Well, unfortunately, that's a disappointing dud right there. And then we have scenes where, scenes of Riley still being upset with Chase about, him doing different things that he does, and knowing that Chase, albeit being a jackass and a dumbass in this episode at the same time, again, according in this episode description, he just doesn't take things, the situation with this monster seriously. I can see if we had another Chase-focused episode or a Riley-focused episode later on in the series, we're going to see a reversal of if Riley didn't take a certain situation seriously, that Chase would, compared to here, that Chase wouldn't take the situation here seriously, then Riley would. Well, in a way, how I would have said it. In the Dino Bite Cafe, we have a scene where Kendall and Riley investigate how many bites that each victim had of those slices of cake that caused them the cavities, while Chase comes in and, again, being a jackass, and then just throws some of the samples of the victimized slices of cake away, and then all of a sudden gets mad with Riley until Kendall breaks up and tells the two that they have to break it up, to sort it out, and such. And then we also have a very touching scene between Riley and Keeper, and albeit I feel that Keeper's touching filler scene with Riley is pretty much out-condoned very well compared to so much for, Gosei and Megaforce or Mentor G and Samurai, because to be honest though, and especially Gosei, I mean, oh yeah, that's right, it's on top. My Gosei morph is attached to my Gosei Ultimate Megazord. I'm sorry. Hold on. At least Keeper will not be like Gosei. So yeah, so be it. Anyway, Chase goes out for the monster himself and fights off the monster. Fights off Cavity. And believe it or not, and knowing that also like in the Kyoryuger version, the Black Ranger gets affected by the monsters' cavity attacks and also has these pain aches. And also, and one of my few criticisms right now, even though we're only 6 episodes in the series, in terms of the technical, visual and special effects department on the series, you know, as much as I do love the originality of Power Rangers Dino Charge, I was expecting the CGI effects in the season very grateful and better. I understand Power Rangers is a kid's show, and we know that we've had the CGI stuff since Wild Force, you know, with the CG Wild Zords and everything. But as we went on to this point, that I was expecting the CGI effects in the season to be better instead of looking like something out of a toy commercial or something out of a low-budget CG animated, you know, cartoon movie or something. And the CG effects of the cavity glow effect in each civilian's mouth, including Chase's own mouth, is pretty bland and bleak in the way how it looks. It looks like something came straight out of a video game. Like if you're like if you have a video game character powering up his or her weapon with that color of purple, that shaded color of hue and purple, that does look like something straight out of a video game, and it doesn't look so good. I just hope that probably once as Dino Charge proceeds, I hope the visual and special effects in terms of the use of CGI in the season should improve instead of looking all shoddy looking, cheap CG looking effects, because that just sucks. This ain't like in Forever Red when we had a cheap CG knockoff of Serpentera. I mean, there's no way I'll talk about that when I just do a overall series review on Dino Charge later at the end of the year, leading to Supercharge. Then, when Chase was in trouble, Riley comes in and fights the cavity monster off, blocking his cavity blast attacks, while Tyler, Coda, and Shelby also come in and help the others. Then they regroup, they morph up, and what's so funny about the morph sequence in this episode, well, although as utilized from that exact same episode of Kyoryuger focused on the Black Ranger, that while the Rangers do their, you know, Dino Charge Ranger poses and stuff, it's kind of funny as soon as when Chase does his Black Ranger roll call, he starts holding on to his mouth because the cavity infection got to his mouth, and you know, the more he talks, because you see, even I myself have a cavity, and well, actually, knowing that cavities don't go away, they'll be there for the rest of my life until my, if my set of teeth starts to, disintegrate and recede and such. And also, what's also catching, if you caught on in terms of the music that they used in this episode, you all know that the same music they used for the roll call sequence in this episode that I'm talking about is the exact same roll call music that they've used back in Megaforce. Like, why couldn't you guys use the same music, for the roll call music that you have exclusively for the series, instead of using from the previous season? Why? Explain, Saban, explain. I mean, you guys did that before in the episode where in Megaforce when the Rangers faced Admiral Malcor, and you somehow, as soon as when they used the Megazord to finish off Malcor and destroy the Warstar alien warship, you used the theme song to Power Ranger Samurai in the background, and that was a bad technical editing mistake. Anyway, the Rangers face off the monster, and I really like how cooperation between Chase and I was about to say Coda, Chase and Riley worked out very well compared to earlier conflicts in this episode, where they each used their switch around their Dino Chargers. Like Riley takes one of Chase's Dino Chargers for his Dino Charge Saber, and Chase uses one of Riley's Dino Chargers to put inside his Dino Charge Morpher, and they both cooperate by using their attack blasts on the cavity monster. And it's funny that how the cavity monster lost all of his teeth. Now he looks like a toothless bum that you see on the street. No offense. And it's funny and how they finished off the monster, on foot the first time, and then as soon as when the monster, when Sondra is upset that the monster that she was so fond of and had a somewhat hate thing with, tells Sledge to send one of his Vivics to press the magma beam to make his monster grow. And then as soon as when the cavity monster does grow back, his teeth reappears. Also, like, of course, as utilizing Kyoryuger footage, Then the Rangers summon their Megazord. Well, Chase and Riley have nothing to do since if their Zords appeared, then it would have been an ultimate, have all 5 Dino Zords together to make a second formation of the Dino Charge Megazord, but only 2 Zords combined with the T-Rex Zord, because the T-Rex is the biggest Zord of the Dino Charge Megazord transformation system. I also like the way during the Megazord battle for the first time ever see I was about to say a Megazord with the letter G to it, where the Dino Charge Megazord turns its arm around and does the flamethrower attack, and because knowing that the T-Rex's head is a shoulder pad to the Megazord this time, then compared to the and this is the first time in almost now 3 or 4 episodes since they had their Megazord to ever have all 5 Dino Charge Power Rangers inside the cockpit of the Dino Charge Megazord. Now this is incredible to see, and it was well spent, well shot footage for that scene. And also when I seen them with their Dino Sabers inside the Megazord, because every time I think about it, despite original Zord cockpit footage, I'm starting to get those negative vibes of Samurai when remember back in Power Rangers Samurai when the Rangers were in their Samurai Megazord finishing off a Nihilok in the Megazord using those blade things that they have inside the cockpit of the Megazord, and then they do the Samurai Final Strike thing. And that's exactly what the Dino Charge Rangers do this season, and use their Dino Saber, and also the first time in use of the Dino Charge Megazord, use the Dino Charge Megazord Saber, which, by the way, where Koda's Stegozord's tail is the sword for the Megazord, of course. And the Rangers finish off the Cavity Monster, and the Cavity Monster has been defeated. Monster went extinct, and we get that last final scene on Sledge's warship between Fury and Poisandra. Poisandra is still upset despite the fact the monster has been destroyed, and she really loved Cavity's cakes so much that, and that as much as, she's sick and tired of, I think she's really getting fed up right now. Just only 6 episodes in, hearing about Sledge talking about getting the Energems, and, and she doesn't care for it. She only wants to, defeat the Rangers and get away from here, and get away from the, across the galaxy and on Earth, and have their wedding happily ever after for both Sledge and Poisandra. And as soon as when Sledge leaves, Poisandra blows a, heart kiss, a blow kiss to Fury. Fury doesn't like that, and he just slashes her her blow kiss heart, and just calls her a freaking candy cane, and don't have her to tempt him. And our last scene, as mentioned, Rangers on track, having fun, and they're also forgiving about, and also the moral message about Chase and Koda, although they are from, although they do things differently, and they come from 2 different cliques, they have to work together as a team. So, for a filler episode like The Tooth Hurts, this was at the same time a good episode, but at the same time it does give me a moral message about working together. And there is at least 1 or 2 points in this episode that I felt was kind of okay and halfway there to make this a solidified another great episode. Although we had 5 great, awesome opening episodes for Dino Charge, but this is one filler episode, but at the same time it juggles character development. And this is also, believe it or not, one of the few episodes, and even a filler one, where in this season where we have 3 different writers aside from Judd Lin, and 2 with 2 new, somewhat rookie writers to write an episode of Power Rangers. So anyway, what do you guys think about The Tooth Hurts? Did you guys thought this episode was good? Did you guys thought this episode was bad? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and I'm off for now. Until next time, when I review the Pink Ranger focus episode, Let the Sleeping Zords Lie. Thanks for watching.